Our first guest is an international superstar who opens up about his life in the new autobiography, Me. Please welcome Ricky Martin.
Let's all bring the band. Been a while.
Welcome to you, Ricky Martin. Now, I have to say, I read this over the weekend. I read it on Saturday, and my wife called me a traitor. She said, what are you doing reading another book? You should just be reading my book. And here's what I learned. First of all, it's congratulations. I think you wrote a really great book. But I learned that you're incredibly famous. I had no idea how famous. I mean, I knew you were famous. I knew Menudo. I was a fan early on. I knew.
Not long ago.
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
I mean, you have been the amount of success you've had. The World Cup song that you wrote. Everything.
Look at this guy.
Look at that. Look at that hard worker who was making $400 a month.
That was right before a mullet. I used to have a mullet.
Who didn't?
Right?
They were very popular. We got sucked in. Now, and you're a humanitarian. You do so many good things, and so I learned a lot about you. But I really didn't know the level of success that you've had throughout your whole life. And then when you wrote the book, did you write the book with the intention that, okay, it's time for me to come out, or were you writing about something else and that was just along the way?
I had no idea what was going to happen. I started writing about my foundation, and I started writing about my trips to India and how important they were for me, because they were a very important part of my spiritual journey. And then, you know, you sit in front of the computer, and then you start adding, and then you delete, and then you add, and then you delete, and a very, very important part of the puzzle is missing.
Right.
And that is why you went to India. Oh, first of all, why you started your philanthropic work? Well, because I went to India and I met beautiful girls that were unfortunately forced into prostitution. Why did you go to India? Because I was trying to run away from the music business. Why were you trying to run away from the music business? Because I was being asked about my sexuality. And I was not ready to answer about my sexuality.
Right.
So it was like very logical, one after the other. So and then all of a sudden I wrote, and I said, oh my God, it feels amazing just to write it. Imagine what it would be to say it.
Yeah.
And it's all about my children.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to, you want to be and you are going to be an amazing father. You already are, but when I read what you talk about and how you want to raise them, beautiful, beautiful boys. Now, did you feel when you saw, because I saw that you wrote a letter when you saw some hate crimes happening early on, before you even came out.
Right.
Did you think, wow, I could be a great role model if I only did you feel responsible? Because I know you said when people questioned you, it pushed you further in the closet because you were anxious about it. But did you feel responsible, like that you should do it?
I started feeling responsible. Ellen, I think it's everybody has to go through their own process. When you're not ready, you're not ready. You have to go through a spiritual path. It doesn't matter if it takes you 10, 15 years since the moment you realize or you understand who you are. You cannot be forced. Right now, children, unfortunately, we're talking about bullying. Children are being bullied because they're gay, and they're committing suicide. Children are committing suicide because they're being outed. And it's because if you're not ready, you're just not ready.
Right.
So I started writing this letter about acceptance, and I said, how can I not be completely honest in this letter? And I think I talk about it in the book. This is a great way for me to just let go of everything that I'm carrying, that it's so heavy.
Right.
Because I was honest about the acceptance and the hate crimes, but imagine if I could have said, and I know what it is to be bullied, and I know what it is to be discriminated. Then again, that was not my moment. It took me, maybe 2-3 more months after that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think You know, and when you say these kids are committing suicide because they're being outed, I don't know if it's necessarily that they're being outed. Some may have not even been gay. They're being called very nasty names, and unfortunately, you know, that word faggot or queer or whatever is a word that is very hateful, because there aren't enough role models. If people in every walk of life, if you're a doctor, if you're in any business, if parents knew that it's not so bad, they wouldn't be so scared for their kids, and kids wouldn't be so scared to grow up and know that there are options and you can be happy and healthy.
And it's great.
Yeah.
For me,
it feels amazing, yeah.
like I say in my letter, for me to be a gay man is the most amazing blessing. First of all, like I've said, God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
And if it wasn't because I was gay, Mateo and Valentino would have been part of my life.
Yeah.
So.
Two beautiful angels, you call them.
Two beautiful angels.
All right, I have a gift for your two beautiful angels, but we have to take a break first, and then I'll give you a gift.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Ricky Martin.
Okay.
Not quite so comfortable yet. Were you aware at that age? Did you have feelings that you were gay at that age already?
I think you know.
Yeah.
You know, you feel attraction, you feel the chemistry. It's not that you can say, okay, I'm in love with that
you don't
guy.
know what it is.
You don't know how to put it in words, but you feel like a chemistry, like an attraction.
Right, and you had people around you trying to make sure that you were.
Well, obviously, that's not what you're supposed to be feeling.
Right.
No, that's not right.
Right.
And that's not, the church says that's wrong. In fact, it says that's evil. And then you're 12 years old and you're a rock and roll star. You're supposed to do whatever it takes to call the attention of the girls.
Right.
And other than that, you're a faggot. And then it's very confusing.
Yeah.
You know, when you're an adult, it's confusing at times.
Yeah.
Imagine when you're struggling with all those emotions when you're only 12. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you went on the spiritual journey, and that's what the book talks about a lot, is the spiritual journey to get to that place and love yourself and accept yourself. And I'm so glad that you did get to that place, and that we get to actually see you, and you get to live your life free, because everyone deserves to be free.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, so now, I know your boys are probably very active, right? Mateo, Valentino.
Terrible twos, yeah.
All right, so they're running around, and so we have little warm-up suits for them.
Cool.
Come on.
How cool! I will send you a picture and I'll send it to you.
Because they're adorable. Oh my God,
Thank
they're
you.
beautiful. All right, and congratulations. Ricky
I
Martin
appreciate it.
Me is in bookstores now.
hope you enjoy
Everybody
it.
in the audience, you're getting a copy.